Hello everyone and welcome to our I Pick My Butt video. More Survivor.io and chapter 51 is finally completed. This one gave me a heck of a time. I probably played it about 20 times and I tried it from anything with the Light Chaser, the Void Power at Excellent, thinking, hey, you know, it's OP. Let's see if it can do the trick. And even the Kunai and all my stats were sitting close to about 12,000 attack. And after playing it so many times, I realized that this isn't about how much attack I have. I mean, obviously attack makes a little bit of a difference, but this is more of a skill-based chapter, which makes it a very difficult thing to get down, especially with RNG base. So you'll see me do a couple of different things inside here. I think I have this down to a science of exactly how to beat it if you are struggling on this chapter, and we'll go over it right now. Now, the first thing that you want to really try to do is we want to try to grab Destroyer and obviously upgrade that Light Chaser. I didn't go for any mines inside this, and my abilities that I'm going through, I've already got preset in my mind. Quantum Ball, or the soccer balls, are going to be a huge one to get to, but it's not really needed until the very last second or so. But really the hardest part is right around the 11-minute mark when you get all the mobs rushing in. Now, one of the things that I'm going to start doing, which you'll probably never see me do in any other video, is I'm going to be picking up the coins, and we're really going to be building ourselves a little bit of a nest of bombs and health. And I think I hit it to like a point where I had like 8 bombs just sitting in a little rectangular area here on the screen, which made it, surprisingly, it helped, but it didn't do what I wanted to do. But it's something you do need to do on this. So anytime you see a bomb, you're not going to want to pick that up until the 11-minute mark. So just kind of leave it there. Now, after playing this 20 times, this is a little bit of a game I do here of every pig must die. So I try my hardest to kill every single one on the screen, and they will drop gold biofuels too. So if you see one, try to pick it up, but they do put out good currency. So I'm trying to kill them all, just get them on the screen, and then we'll eventually find a magnet on it. But as far as things go in here, like I said, we really need to save the bombs up. The big ability that we want to go for and work around is Guardian. I know not a lot of people are crazy about it, but it really pays off in this. We need to get Guardian, we need to get the ammo thruster, which is going to help speed up the circular motion of it, and then we're also going to get the HE fuel, which is going to increase the range of it. Pretty much make it where we're covering the whole screen right there, or at least, you know, the up and down. It's blocking the top and it's blocking the bottom. Sounds simple enough, but it can be a pain to try to get those. But mainly in the beginning, we want to, like I said, upgrade that Light Chaser, try to get that evoed. We won't get it there until, you know, past the 5-minute mark, but we do need to get a couple of the drones, because using the Light Chaser, we don't have that boss power, and having the drones is going to help with those elites, which we just dropped that one right there. That one's never any too bad because it's the first one, let's be honest. But when it comes to the first boss, if you don't have the Destroyer, or at least, you know, a couple of the drones, it can be very difficult, and the boss does hit hard. He is pretty easy to dodge and kind of figure out, but still, you have your moments where you play something over and over and you just start screwing up left and right on it. So keep that in mind. First 5 minutes, focus on getting the Light Chaser, focus on getting the drones, and if you see those couple of other abilities there, we want to get those too. So as I said, Light Chaser, drones, soccer ball, and then Guardian. The other one I want to get to is I want to go and get the lightning emitter. That's going to help out too with the cooldown on it. That's going to help our Light Chaser kind of speed up and spin around a little more. And then we're also going to probably grab the rocket. If you can get it, rocket's another good DPS one, and that's going to work well with grabbing the HE fuel. Now, that'll leave us one slot open with having the what's it called, the Destroyer there. So I'm going to typically go for attack on it if I can. And then the other thing too is sometimes, you know, brick, not a bad way to go with this up and down on it. But realistically, Guardian, I want to get that ammo thruster, get that HE fuel, and get the cooldown from the energy cube. Those are going to be the big things that kind of help you get past that 11-minute mark on there. So when we see our first bomb on the screen, what I'll do is I'll either go up a good ways until I see a box, kill some enemies, and then work my way back down to see if any boxes have generated there. If I get another area where I have 2 bombs versus the 1 bomb, I'm going to go start working that area instead. And obviously food too, we want to keep that out there just for those oh no situations. I tried my hardest not to pick any up, but if there was a situation where, you know, I didn't have my drone up enough, I was getting crowded, I was going to go over and just grab it. It's nice to have those things sitting around on the edge. If I see something in the middle though, I'm not really too concerned because that's kind of my walk and running path. So I'm not just going to, you know, take it on purpose, but, you know, if I'm running through it, oh well, I just took it. So pretty much here, we're just farming up. I do try to grab a magnet, maybe around like 430, 445 if I see one around. really, the other thing I'm doing is you'll see me go to pick up these coins. I'm going to be very careful about picking up coins because you always have it where there's a bomb hidden underneath things. So I'll watch for that flash. If I see it, you'll see it kind of like generate a little pulse. And in that minute of the pulse, the bomb will kind of peek out for a second and then I'll hide back behind the coins. So if you see me kind of just sitting there, that's what I'm doing. I'm watching, seeing if there's a bomb or anything. And there's moments where I accidentally grab one, not the end of the world. But realistically, we're just really trying to store these things up. And you'll see once we get to that moment where 11 minutes comes around, even after the 10-minute mark, you're just kind of like, oh man, here we go. I don't have the abilities I want. I don't have enough of it. Can I survive it? And it's actually pretty hilarious how many bombs I grab and how many things are still alive. Because at the 11-minute mark, on top of all the fire-breathing blue dragons that come out, you got an elite that comes out too, and that's pretty tanky. So it's a matter of me grabbing 5 bombs and setting them off. Still wasn't enough to kill that elite. And then next thing you know, they all just pretty much swarm in. They're getting pushed in at you, so you don't have too much of a choice of kind of defending them off. It's just all of a sudden they're there. So this guy here, he's going to do a jump, which is going to be a hurtful one, and he will throw the boomerang too, or his bone as a boomerang. And you'll also see him spawn like 2 or 3 little minions, but as I said, we got the drone, we're good to go. So from here, we're just going to work and try to farm up as much as we can. As far as the light chaser and the drone, we got past the first one. We're not too bad on the bosses. Now my goal is to really store up on that guardian. We want to try to get that evoed if we can, or at least get it leveled up. And then I'll also be picking up those ranges. I want to try to see if I can at least get it to the edges of the screen. I'm not worried about, really maxing it out, but I at least want to get that coverage from the top and the bottom on it, just to make sure, okay, nobody can sneak by on me. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to try to upgrade and evo this Light Chaser and Destroyer, but my main focus is that Guardian on it. Now, once we get to the Destroyer evolved, I will try to get the Drill, because the Drill and the Ammo Thruster, once again, works good together, and also it's going to help out the Soccer Balls when we go and really need those towards the end. In the perfect scenario, if you can get a Guardian evolved and get your Soccer Ball evolved on top of having your Light Chaser evolved, you're probably pretty well set going into that 11-minute mark. It's still going to be a struggle, but it's probably the best case scenario. But once again, it doesn't always happen that way. You're going to be left with abilities that you don't want. And like I said, I think I got Brick instead of getting the Drill on it, but it is what it is. So it can get a little bit difficult too. You'll notice like I'm kind of in some close situations where the enemies will start kind of mobbing me. I do a little bit of a stutter step, kind of working my way in and out. And obviously I'll try to keep myself towards some of the food sitting around. So if I do take some hits, I can quickly run over to them. But there is always a moment where I think there's one of the pig elites is going to run out here pretty soon. I wasn't really looking at my phone to see if he already did, but he snuck up on me in a couple of the games, and it's like, oh man, I just died to him. And there's nothing worse than when you're trying to save all your lives for the 11-minute mark, because you will end up dying on it. It's no doubt about it. So if you don't have an Eternal Suit, you're not using an Eternal Suit, you better get one, because it's definitely going to be needed on there. And as you can see on the left, there's no legendary equipment on here. We got nothing sitting on red. Everything's just at yellow +3, and we still don't have the gloves. We still don't have the waistband yet either, which is kind of annoying to me. I actually just grabbed the waistband on my free-to-play account, so that was pretty cool. And I got it out of the S grade. I think I got it on like my 12th pull out of the thing, so I was pretty psyched and excited out of that. But realistically, I always say realistically a lot, we're just farming it up, trying to get as much as we can, working our way up and down, building up those bombs, and we're just going to kind of just ease our way into it. So when these pigs come out, I kind of work my way away from them, because they will kind of, they're tanky. They will do some damage to you. They're not terrible, but they really do kind of just get in the way, I guess. So I'll work my way down, just kind of keep on using the drone, maybe hit them, and get the Guardian, kind of get some swings on them. And once I feel like I'm free, I'll go back and take some shots at them. But on the other note, did you see we got that Acorn event going on? It's not the actual Acorn sale. I guess there's going to be another one coming after this, but just more of like a daily reward login. And I really wish they wouldn't maybe mention all the events inside the update patch notes, because when we get them, I mean, the Halloween one, that was kind of blah. This one here, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, we're getting this. But whenever I see it inside the patch notes, it always seems more exciting than what we actually get. But I'm grateful we got something out of it there, so that'll be going on, and I'm more curious to see what the next event is going to be after it. Hopefully it's kind of like what the Maple Leaves event was, where we, could trade in for Light Chaser or the Eternal Shoes, or what was the other one too? Oh, the Eternal Vest, I think it was too. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get another Void Power out of it, or if anybody that doesn't have it yet, at least get one of them, because it is a fun weapon. I really want to take it to Excellent, or take it to Epic, I should say, and test it out and see how it compares at, a +3 Epic on it. So hoping that's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. So here we are. We're getting the last minute and a half on things. And that was my screen recording stopping. No, this is not on the Google Pixel. It drops out all of a sudden. I actually got a phone call. It said from Public Services, and I answered. It was the CDC calling me. And last Saturday, I was on call, and the place I was working, the second I left there, one of my coworkers called and said, hey, the guy had a scratchy throat and he did a COVID test and he had COVID. So keep an eye on your symptoms and so on, which thankfully for me, I felt fine. My stomach was bothering me a little bit because we had taco soup 2 days in a row and the peppers were just really setting things on fire when I was sitting on the toilet. But at any rate, that was not related to anything COVID. So I thought they were actually calling me because of that. And it was just like, so drawn out of, hi, this is so-and-so from so-and-so. We've been doing this and that. We were wondering if you could, take a couple of minutes to just kind of answer some questions. And the second I heard him say, are you doing anything that might, reflect us or put you in a bad situation, like driving a car? I said, oh, I'm working right now. And they go, oh, okay, well, can we call you back at a later time? Like, nope, no thank you. And then I had to get back into the game, which I was in full game mode. I mean, this was like the one where I was saying, I'm going to be either beating this and making a video on it, or we're just going to go and post chapter 3 on the free-to-play account. So I was determined. Like, I've been playing this for 2.5 hours trying to beat this chapter here. And then finally, it's like I'm in the zone, and then that phone call comes in. Just totally screwed up my game. But I went back in. I was nervous that when I was going to go back in, that I was going to have like a sliver of health and just be almost dead. But luckily, we turned it around, and here we are going in the second boss. Now, the second boss himself, it's one of those mud guys. He's going to go under the ground. He's going to do kind of like a charge at you. It's not like the actual caterpillar. You're going to actually see the red line coming at you. Which, why doesn't the caterpillar have the red line? I guess that's a good question. I think it should if it's going to be charging, but it doesn't. So, at any rate, we're going up against the mud guy here, and I don't think he actually goes in the ground and splits into the 3. He might. I don't think I really have seen it on him because it is kind of a smaller area. But it's a lot of the charging, a lot of him going underneath and trying to jump up. When he does go underneath on you, he is going to spawn a couple of minions, so just be careful of those where the red dots are. I really need to turn off the graphics of having, have everything fade out. Toggle that switch on. And I still got my joystick thing on there too. I switched them off on the other account, but for some reason, I'm still playing with them on here. So maybe that's all I'll do when I get done with this video. I think I might say that every video, but I got to turn those things off so I can see a little better. So here we are now. We're going to be going into the final minute before hell totally breaks loose. And I'm excited for you guys to see it because I never had so many bombs on the screen before. And it really just seems like, okay, this is going to work. And when it didn't work as well as I planned, I was like, oh boy, what do I do now? But I'm just going to work my way up and down, just kind of killing as many enemies as I can. If I see a magnet, I'm going to try to grab that thing. I don't care if they're sitting around or if I'm not grabbing enough. I'm trying to grab every last little piece of bio shard I possibly can. And these enemies don't really look that bad, but they are kind of tanky in the fact that they have that little bit of a shield over them. I had to just pause it for a second because there's literally like 10 crotch rockets flying by my house at 100 miles per hour. So that was a little noisy, but surprisingly, I don't think it picked up any of the audio on that. So now we're kind of just picking the last couple of things. We still don't have that Guardian Evo, which makes me kind of concerned, like, oh man, I'm in trouble because I've been in this situation before. I need to have that thing spinning non-stop for when these things come out, but I'm going to work my way back down to the bombs and just be ready for it. Here's the 11-minute mark, and the second I see him, we're going to kaboom. We're going to run over the other one, kaboom, and I think I tried to grab this R1, but it didn't really go the first time. And you can see they're still just coming in. There is not a lot of wiggle room, so I said, let me just run through. I'll pop the shield because luckily I haven't hit that yet. Grab another bomb, and thank God we got that other Guardian, but it still isn't enough. We still have the Elite out there, which is going to make things more of a pain, and you can see it's just absolutely insane how crazy the mobs are. Is that 5 bombs right there? That's a lot of bombs. And now's a good time to go and grab the health. We got the elite, and somehow I'm still alive. I thought I ended up dying and got brought back to life, but apparently there was a piece of food stacked on top of a piece of food. So there's, what, 6, 7 bombs so far, and now we're kind of getting them a little bit under control. And now I'm just going to kind of do a slight little tap going up on it. I'm just going to kind of work my way in one direction. I am still taking some hits here and there. Grab the ammo thruster there, just get things speed up a little more. But eventually, once we hit the 12-minute mark, it will die down just slightly a touch. And then I'm going to kind of clear out whatever I have at the top. I'll shoot back on the other way, but of course, why not throw another elite out there at you? And this is the pig that gets me right here. I think I ended up dying because I was like, oh, I just got to get away from all these fire-breathing dragons. Got away from them, and we're hurting. So there's not a lot of room to run, and they're crowding back in on the top again, which just makes it a terrible situation. So there we are. We use that one up, and now I'm like, I got past that first point. I just used the last one here. I've only made it to the final boss once. Luckily, it was enough to get an idea of how he actually attacks. So I was in good shape for the most part, but I was kind of struggling here. I was worried. It's like, oh, better, start charging that pixel phone because we're going to make that chapter 3 video. But somehow we got through it and got towards the end and finally beat the final boss, which the final boss pretty much just one-shot me. So I think I went pretty much without taking any hits on it. We still had a lot of food on the screen, so that was a good thing. But either way, he's pretty much a one-shot with his one ability that he does. We'll show you in a second what it is, but we just killed that elite. Low battery, great. One more thing to throw in there just to screw me up on it. And we're going to just work our way down. We're still trying to collect as much bio shards. We really want to try to evo everything if we can, but I don't think we're going to, because realistically, the destroyer, yes, it is OP. It is awesome when you have the tech part on it, but there's 11 abilities there that, 11 levels or 11 skills that we're using up, which really kind of takes away from a lot of the other stuff inside the game. So another bomb. Like I said, these bombs, it's great having these things all over, and for me, that's what I needed. I think PlayMe beat this with like 7,000 attack or something. I don't know how far his evolutions are, but I did just get the one that gave 5% larger area. So I did finally play some trials and got that. I got one more that I can do before, I'm capped out on my level of 74 or 75 where we're at. But as you can see here, it's getting crowded once again. Luckily, the pigs will kind of slow things down just slightly on it, so it's not too bad for us, but it does still get crazy. And I think the 14-minute mark is where we're going to get more of those fire-breathing blue ones too. So by that point, though, we have the Guardian, we have the Quantum, so you'll see that I'm kind of more just able to camp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find one of those areas where I have all the food sitting there, and we'll just kind of sit tight and wait for the boss. I did start kind of working my way a little bit, but you can see with the speed from the ammo thruster, the Quantum, and running that Guardian, we're able to just kind of safely play in this one. But that first time they come out, that's not really possible. It's just, there's such a big rush of mobs that they're all just, it's a stampede. They're crashing into each other, and they pretty much crash into you. So I did think I was going to be like, oh, yeah, here we go. We're going to lose again. There was a lot of that in this game. Like I said, played it for 2-something hours just trying to beat this. But once I realized, okay, we're kind of good here, we're just going to camp it out and just get ready for the final boss. So the final boss himself is this big mech type thing. And the 2 attacks that I saw from him is he's going to shoot 3 of those blue orbs, kind of like, what's the bowl that I hate so much, that raging bowl. But he'll shoot 3 of those out, and the other one is he'll shoot a missile up in the air, and then that missile will come down and hit you. You'll probably see it a couple of times. You'll just kind of see it. There's a lot going on. But I kept on getting hit by that missile the first time I made it to him, and it was just like, oh, I'm dead. That was quick. And you can see, even with going and running around in circles Destroyer, it's not a fast drop down on him. So I'm just one second going, yep, all it's going to do is just that one shot's going to hit me, or he's going to hit me with one of those blue orbs when I'm not expecting it, because the light chaser's not going to stop those blue orbs. But somehow we made it through and did it, and that's how I beat chapter 15. So if you're stuck on this chapter, have questions, post down in the comments, join up on the Discord. I can give you more of a straightforward with less rambling on it. But other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember, I pick my butt.